And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. We are North Georgia's only live online morning show. Thank you for joining us. Now, before I introduce our guest, on a daily basis, the deep state media wants to set the narrative, set the direction, and right now for the 2018 election, my opinion is racial divide. They probably have some kind of polling that tells them that racial divide is playing well. So identity politics, racial divide, and now Omarosa coming out and saying the president said the N-word. Now, I told you earlier, my concern with her comment is, folks, where is Herschel Walker? Where is Herschel Walker? Where is Al Sharpton? Where is Dennis Rodman? I mean, the list goes on of people that Donald Trump has associated for 30 years with that could probably line up and say it's true, but we're not getting any of that. But the media's pushing it. My guest now, we're going to talk about racial divide in America. My guest, known as the Minister of Truth, Mr. Derrick Grayson. Thank you for being on the show with us. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, Brian, and it's a pleasure being back again. Great to hear your voice, and thank you very much for inviting me.
Well, the other day, and you know, I know you've been on the show a couple times, but the other day you did a video when this broke concerning Omarosa. You did a video, and I think the title was, well, you know, what was in you, what was in you, and you went all the way back that what was in her, if this was true, what was in her that she worked for a racist, if this was true, all these years. And I want you to go into further detail. I watched that video, and that's one of the major reasons I wanted to bring you on this morning. So let's just start right into that video and Omarosa and the accusations that the president said the N-word.
Okay. So what started that, or what prompted me to make that video was the fact that I believe that, and I'm going to say, for argument's sake, let's say Omarosa is telling the truth.
Okay.
For argument's sake, for this particular argument, if Omarosa is telling the truth, then it destroys all credibility that the woman has in terms of her character. And what I mean by that, what was in her that allowed her to go out publicly and endorse Trump, to be associated with him for 15 years, to help him positively secure his election. I'm not saying she was responsible for it. She's just one of many people that supported the president. But she played a part in that. And all of the people that were upset with her, calling her a coon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, none of that even fazed her, because she said, this is the man, this is the guy. But she had recordings hidden away somewhere. And after she had been fired, she decided, now it's time for me to play this card. Well, Omarosa, what was it in you that allows you to serve under a man that you felt was a racist? See, that's where the problem is for me. Now, by no means or no stretch of the imagination do I believe that it's true. I don't think there's a recording. There are people, I think the woman's name was Tracy, who still works for the White House,
yes,
who has come out and said that, you know, there was no such recording. Other people involved have said there is no such recording. The woman is a certifiable liar. She is treacherous. And here's the final nail in that coffin, Brian. If this was true, Omarosa then betrayed all of the black people that used to love her by supporting Trump, and now she's written a book, and she is expecting those people to buy the book. So I don't understand how a woman like that can even live with herself. And then if we talk about Trump, there's a recording of him using the word. See, it's not a big deal to me, Brian, because around the people that I go around with and try to engage with, and I'm speaking particularly Negroes, I hear them using the word nigger all day long. Everywhere. You can't even go in a restaurant. If there's a group of black folk in there, you're going to hear somebody at the table, oh, nigga, what you talking about? Oh, and then when you tell them, why do you refer to each other like that? Oh, man, I'm not saying nigger, E-R. I'm saying nigger, just G-A. And that's a term of endearment. Yes, they actually will tell you that. And I said, when did blacks get together in history and decide that, you know what, we're going to come up with a variant of the word nigger, and we're going to create the word nigger, and that's going to mean a term of endearment. And the reality of it is, Brian, nigger is still nigger. The only difference is over time, you know, many blacks just, for whatever reason, lost the ability to say the word nigger, and then they came up with the word nigger. So that's, you know, to me, that is the long and short of it. I don't call people that. Now, I'll say the word because I refuse to say the N word, because many people don't say a word about the record labels that produce music that is littered with words such as nigger, bitch, hoe, etc., etc. In the music. They don't say a word. BET is not out saying a word. Many of the NAACP is not out saying a word. They're not condemning it. They're not marching against it or any of that stuff. Yet, when one person is accused, a white person is accused of using the word one time or two times, all hell breaks loose. And I'm just sick of the hypocrisy. The bottom line is, in all of this, race is made to matter for us because it divides us. The one percenters, the political elite, they don't care about race. They just want to make sure that we stay divided so that we continue to blame the rank and file Democrats or the rank and file Republicans, when in actuality, it is the establishment Republicans and the establishment Democrats, not called the establishment Republicans, rhinos, who vote just like Democrats. They are the ones that are destroying the country, and the only way that they can continue to get away with that is by keeping us divided. And there is one man now at the top that is making a difference, and I use the analogy that he is overturning the money changers' haters. And I put out many videos about Trump's Civil War, how it is much like the Civil War of America, where you had the rich white guys in the North and the rich white guys in the South, basically causing a war where poor blacks and whites and poor blacks in the North and poor whites in the North and poor whites in the South and poor blacks in the South went to war to kill each other because one group was mad that the other one had somewhat of an advantage over them, and that was the ability to produce their products and goods with free labor. So Trump is basically in a civil war of himself. Trump made his billions through business. Many of the politicians that go in broke, like the Clintons, who went in with a net worth of $500,000 and emerged with a net worth of over $300 million, they go in broke, they come out rich. And that's what it's all about with the political elite. And Donald Trump is messing that up. He's destroying that dynamic.
All right, let me ask you this question because, all right, back to the racial slur that Omarosa claims the President of the United States made. I just want to end that because there's a couple other subjects I really like for you to address. I appreciate where you're coming from. I don't understand why it's used at all. I don't understand the double standard. I don't understand, you know, it's like and I'll say this because I guess you went down that road, the record labels produce, and I laugh at this, okay? The record labels produce as much nasty filth as they can. As nasty as they can. I mean, they got on the Trump about grab her by the blank. Okay, fine, all right. I don't like maybe my president said that or future president at that time. But let me say this, okay? They produce as much nasty filth with every possible racial, sexual word in it they can. Okay? And white kids run to buy it. And I say that, and I probably just got in a lot of trouble with some viewers, but their white kids run to buy it. So you have a black hip-hop culture. I don't even know if it's hip-hop, because back in my day, I'm a little old, hip-hop was actually a little bit of fun. But the black hip-hop culture of today, they put this stuff out, and they're all listening to it. They're all singing it. They're all talking it. But the media goes crazy over the fact that a white person may have said it one time. So, and you don't, I think in the video, you don't allow it in your house. I mean, I know you're discussing it on an explanation kind of way, explaining, you know, it to us as viewers, but you don't allow it in your house. You don't allow it around yourself in general, correct?
That is correct. I don't allow, well, the friends that I have, they understand and they know. Respect me because I respect you. Do not refer to that to me as my nigga, because I am not your nigga. I am no one's nigga. So I don't allow it. And in my younger days, to get somebody to understand that, he insisted on referring to me as nigga, and I dumped a picture of beer on him. Of course, he was the one who was thrown out of the bar. But, you know, the fact of the matter is, if you go into any relationship on your knees and allow a person to ride your back, when some day comes and you may decide to stand up, it'll be almost impossible because you started out in a relationship where you allowed someone to ride your back. So when I meet people and they say certain things to me, I correct them right then. I don't allow other men to refer to me as MF. MF, what you talking about? I don't get down like that, Brian. I respect people, and I demand that they respect me if they want to be in my company. Now, if they don't want to respect me, then they ain't got to be in my company. Many people don't understand why I have a no explicit rule on my Facebook wall. And the reason for that is I don't want to come off as though I condone that type of behavior. And what infuriates me is the fact that people don't understand what the freedom of speech is all about. Me telling an individual you can't refer to me as nigger or use expletives on my wall is not a violation of your freedom of speech, because you can go and do it on your wall, you can go out on the street corner and say it all you want, but you won't be doing it in my presence. And that's the long and short of it for me. So I don't do the double standard on nigger or my nigger or any variation of it.
Let's move to the inner city. Let's move to the inner city and how you feel President Donald Trump is doing in the inner city, and is he making strides in lifting up the black community opposed to what I feel programs that push the black community down or keep the black community in a certain place. How do you feel the president is doing in inner cities in America?
So I think the president is serving all Americans. It is true that the president has acknowledged that there are specific policies that have impacted blacks more negatively than others, and that is education. In the inner city, the schools are terrible. You have parents that don't care anything about education. And how can you expect a mother, a single mother, to care about an education when Her mother didn't graduate from high school either, and she didn't graduate from high school. She doesn't really care about an education. School is just simply a means of daycare for many of these parents. And when you have a bunch of bad kids in a school, you end up getting teachers that don't want to be there. They find other schools to go to because they don't want to work in a huge daycare center. Donald Trump has recognized the problem and acknowledged the problem with our schools and is making strides to address those issues. Unemployment. Donald Trump has acknowledged that, unemployment has always been historically high in the black community. But when Donald Trump does things policy-wise that impacts the economy in a positive fashion, it's not just blacks who benefit, everyone benefits. And I like the fact that Donald Trump did not go in saying, I'm going to help blacks do this, and I'm going to help blacks do this, as though we are somewhat of a special case and need extra help. I like the fact that Donald Trump went in and he said, I am going to make America great again for Americans. Because I believe that if Donald Trump attacks the liberal progressive policies that have destroyed the black community systematically since the advent of FDR's New Deal and Lyndon Baines Johnson's The Great Society, the No Man in the House rule. And if you know what I'm talking about, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it and you'll figure it out. That was the beginning of the breakup of black families. I think that if you bring jobs back for everyone, including blacks, that will help the black community. If you start to address the issues with the educational system, that will help everybody, including blacks. So that's what I'm looking for. But I think the biggest thing that Donald Trump is doing is to address the immigration issue, the immigration problem. Because what many blacks don't understand is that they'll get upset when you talk about immigration and they'll say that Donald Trump is a racist because he doesn't want Mexicans in this country. Well, first off, Mexico is not Mexican is not a race, that's a nationality. So, when you have a basic level of misunderstanding about the circumstance, it's hard for people to see what's really going on. But make a long story short, when the immigrants come here legally through chain migration, they don't go put them in Buckhead or Vinings. They put them in the black neighborhoods. When the illegals come to this country illegally, they don't move into Buckhead. They move in the black neighborhoods, and they get social. They start having access to our social programs, such as Medicaid, education, and things of that nature. And blacks don't realize if you go to work every day and you pay taxes, you're paying for them to come over here and move into your neighborhood and help destroy your neighborhood. I mean, blacks do enough damage on their own in many of the neighborhoods, i.e. Chicago. We don't need any additional help. What we need are more jobs, and the start of that is to stop the problem with illegal immigration. Brian, I could go on and on and on. I am not going to pigeon Donald Trump as the president who went to Washington, D.C. to help blacks. President Trump went to Washington, D.C. to help all Americans, and that is what I applaud. And I admire the fact that he has acknowledged the issues that plague black people more significantly than other races in this country. That acknowledgement alone should show blacks that, hey, this is somebody who actually sees what's going on and is not going to give you lip service in addressing those issues.
A couple quick things before we close. We got a minute or two, so I want to make these pretty quick. First of all, I want to make a comment on something you said there. I do remember years ago, and I'm going way back, in public housing, in an area I'm from, in public housing, you could go through the area, and I'm just going to say 99% of public housing, the residents were black, and now you can go through public housing and that racial makeup is not what it used to be. There's a lot of Hispanics in there, and you're 100% right. They don't come across the border and get sent up to, Buckhead and Alpharetta. They get sent into the black communities in these cities, and that is actually who's competing for their job, their space, their home, and everything. Now, let me move on to this. Let me just ask you a general question. How do you think, and let me put it like this, how do you think the President of the United States is doing? Does it bother you at any time that he just says what he wants, when he wants, and every once in a while he'll just let something fly on Twitter that drives everybody crazy?
I love it. Donald Trump tosses the football over the media. That means it gets to us unfiltered. I absolutely love it, and I hope that he keeps it going. And I don't like PC. I think PC helped to destroy this country. I think PC created the snowflakes. I think PC creates misunderstanding. PC creates the acceptance of what should not be acceptable. And I'm glad that President Donald Trump is not a PC president.
Okay, so what about, and let me run one more thing by you, because here's the thing. I study the media. I get up every day, Derrick, and at 4 a.m. I watch Fox News. At 5 a.m. I watch CNN, and at 6 a.m. I watch MSNBC. The news cycle drops at 4 a.m. You start to see the direction they're going to take things in the course of the day. And yesterday with Omarosa and the President of the United States saying, I'm glad John Kelly fired that dog, which I absolutely loved. Anyhow, the media is coming out and talking about this shows him to be the racist they've always thought he is, because they get a list. Omarosa is a black, and he said S-hole countries about a country that's predominantly black, and you know, he talks about black athletes kneeling on the NFL. Now, my opinion is Donald Trump does not see color, that he calls out the protest, and it just happens to be black athletes on their knees. I think the President of the United States would call that protest out if it was 4 white athletes on their knees. What say you?
I completely agree with you. Look, blacks do not want to hear people talking about what blacks are doing, especially if it's not in a negative light. There's a guy on YouTube who makes a lot of videos about the things that go on with single black mothers. And he is absolutely loathed by the black community because he calls it out. And the typical response from many blacks when you talk about these things is, well, white people do it too. That is the only comeback that many of them can have. And I always say, just because someone else do it is not a justification for you to do it as well. That's no excuse.
Well, Mr. Grayson, I've got to go. We've had about 30 minutes. I appreciate it, you coming on this block. I want to get you on again, and maybe we can get something regular going, because I do know I want to work to stop or at least highlight the media and their attempt to racially divide us, because I have to tell you, and you can say whatever you want to me, and I think you know me well enough, you can just say whatever you want to me. Until Obama became president of the United States, I understood there was a problem. I guess I just didn't realize it was that bad. I didn't. And I don't want to say that I'm surrounded, my sphere of friends is, surrounded by people that I just was closed off and didn't realize it. But I didn't know things were that bad until the media tries to tell me they're that bad. What say you?
I knew something was bad when George Bush gave us heart. I knew something was wrong with the Republican Party establishment. I knew something was wrong with the media when I ran for U.S. Senate in 2014 and in 2016. I am going to run again in 2020. And between now and then, Brian, I am going to do my level best to expose rhinos in the Republican Party, to highlight the inaccuracy and the bias of the media. And I give Trump all the praise for exposing the media for being the liar that it is. Because when I would tell people that the media is a liar and the truth is not in them, and I'm speaking in general, Brian, I know you're the media, but I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about corporate-owned media outlets. When I was telling people that, they didn't believe me. But Trump made it a reality, and it was the media's fault themselves because they thought via their own hubris that they had such a control over the public that they would not hear what Donald Trump was saying, and they gave Donald Trump an unprecedented amount of free press. And in doing so, Trump helped to expose them and bring them down. And they are responsible for themselves being outed as corporate whores and liars. Don Lemon, Megyn Kelly, I mean, I could go on and on and on naming them. And a lot of people don't like to hear me say this. Herman Cain is one of the puppets because Herman Cain will say only what they will allow him to say. Many of those people, even here in Atlanta, when there are people running for office that are qualified, the media, the 1% tells the media, don't talk about that person, only talk about the establishment candidates that are running, because we don't want the people in Georgia to know that they have a choice.
Mr. Grayson, I'm gonna have to leave it there. I'm past 9 o'clock. I apologize for cutting you off, but you know we'll get you back on, and we'll stay on this subject. And I always do appreciate. Send me messages anytime of things you want to just enlighten me on where things are concerned, and I appreciate your videos, and I watch them all the time. You can find Derrick Grayson. You just go to Facebook, find Derrick Grayson. He's always doing Facebook videos and so forth, live shots. Appreciate you very much, Mr. Grayson. You have a nice day. Thank you for coming on.
Good thing, Brian. Take care.
Okay, I'm your host, BKP. We're going to go to break. We got to take a brief break. We're talking racial divide in America, especially what the media wants you to believe. It's just absolutely disgusting. And what they won't talk about. You will hear rip children from their mother's arms. But my heart breaks for that little boy. The innocence of that little boy that was murdered out there in New Mexico. And those damn people don't give a damn. So what is that? And nothing was grammatically correct about that, but who cares? We'll be back right after these messages.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies.